As you can see, Tavanhumi is passed out and sleepy cat. There's the other vehicle is going to join us shortly, and so I'm sure he'll pop his head up briefly for that. But otherwise, I think he's going to have a really, really, really good nap. It's after hunting and eating, who can blame him? He's got a shady spot. There's a little breeze that's blowing. Watching a few birds fly over. That's a batelier that's flying over, so he's just watching that. And it's exactly why he's stashed that lamb the way that he has, is so that birds like a batelier don't spot it and come land here and attract attention to him and his kill. And that's why he'll pop his head up for birds like that, just to make sure that they're not landing close by. If they're landing close by, then he often will try and chase them away and get rid of them. But isn't he magnificent when he's just lay out like that? I know both our cats are fairly sleepy this morning. Lumber, apparently the visual's not great on her at the moment, but it's been nice to have so much sort of leopard activity over the last sort of 3 drives. 4 drives actually. I know yesterday morning Juma had a few little issues, but we did have Lumber for a while in the morning, which was good. So yeah, nice to kind of have this. We always have to take it because we know there will be a quiet patch coming at some point where there'll be a couple drives where we don't get it right. Always good to take what you can get when you have it and enjoy it. But I'm sure these two cats, well, when I say these two, I mean Tortoise Pan and Tavanhumi are going to have a box at some point, and I expect it to be when there's a carcass or a female. They keep walking the exact same places, but it's a very short section, so it's not a huge area that they're covering, but they are definitely marking on top of each other. So you'll see Tortoise Pan marks the exact same bushes, and then Tavanhumi comes and he marks over the top of it. It's almost the divide line is this Vuyatela access road. But I think there's a clash coming at some point. Even Mulawati, he used to come up to the side as well. I don't know if he still does. I haven't seen his tracks coming up onto Vuyatela access now since I'd been here, but he used to come from the power lines up through a game path, Vuyatela access, Aubrey's Road, and then you'd turn back down towards Gallagher. But I don't think like I say, I haven't seen his tracks doing that at all lately. I mean, granted, he has been on a kill now for the last couple of days and in Little Gari, and we know that we saw him on Chitwa, so he's been spending a little bit of time down there. But I wonder if maybe the presence of Tortoise Pan and Tavanhumi up here is just making him sort of not want to deal with this and push a little bit more to the sort of south and east. Remember that with male leopards, their territories don't stay defined for the entire time that they're a territorial male. If we look at Tingana and Mvula, and how the 2 previous males in this area, the constant males, their territories shifted and changed massively through their tenure as dominant male leopards. Particularly Tingana. Tingana was the dominant male around EP, Simambili, Sylvan, that area, and even into Ottawa a little bit. And slowly but surely, when Anderson started to push in, so Tingana started to push more and more east. It also just coincided with Mvula getting older, and so they was allowed to push Mvula a little bit more and change that whole dynamic. Hello, boy. Beautiful cat, eh? Sure. I mean, that kind of changed the whole dynamic, and it allowed Tingana to push into Juma and to become more permanent on Juma, to really appreciate what you're seeing and what you're doing is pretty special. So you'll see he'll pop his head up now because the other car, there's actually another car that's coming on top of this one, so there'll be 2 others in this hiding now. See how he's looking. Rithan, licking the hair first, make it easier to pluck. Jeez. Yes, you can make your way in. We're live at the moment, so you can make your way straight in. Sorry, just the unnecessary amount of radio comms this morning is driving me crazy. People need to learn the roads and learn the place better. licking hair off of carcasses is 100% going to loosen hair follicles, and they have very rough tongues. I don't know if you've ever owned a cat, but if you have, you'll know when a cat licks you, it's almost like sandpaper. So these little hooks on their tongue grab hair and pull it, and it takes out little chunks of hair and disturbs it and loosens that fur, making it easier to pluck and to shear off. They actually, the tongue does a lot more work than the teeth do, funny enough. They keep licking like that, you'll see lots of fur coming off, and the tongue actually gets caked in fur, and then they try and like push their tongue out and try and loosen all that fur off and get rid of it. Because remember, fur being keratin is very difficult to digest. When you have bone, fur, those things are the hardest things for a cat to digest, and it's why we were saying earlier with fur balls, they eat grass a little bit, they get rid of stuff that they're battling with, or why they will kind of try and sort of spit out a lot of the fur when they're feeding on carcasses. It's wasting space, very low nutrient value, and difficult to digest. So there's no point for them to worry about trying to consume that. So the tongue helps massively in being able to rid the fur off of that animal. It makes it an easier meal in many ways. Alright, well, he's probably going to pop his head back down again now, so we'll just hang out with him and see if he continues to stay awake or sleep.